Gold is at an all-time high. You've probably heard people say that it happens in anticipation of a financial crisis.
Everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time has fallen about 18%.
People like you and me start buying gold as a hedge for when inflation spikes or when the rupee is about to weaken. This is a means for the world to feel safer in the face of uncertainty. But this time around, what if I tell you things are different? Because it's not retail investors, people like you and me buying gold. This time, it's a different class of investors. And these people are not buying because of fear of inflation or financial panic. They are buying for absolutely different reasons, something folks like you and me can't even comprehend. So, who are these people? Why are they buying gold? And perhaps most importantly, will they ever sell?
It is not just the metal, it is the strength of the country.
Well, if you have all these questions, stick around because that's exactly what we're going to break down in this episode of FinShots TV. FinShots TV is now a part of Zerodha's 01 network. Together, we plan on bringing you stories that impact your day-to-day lives, sometimes without you even realizing it. So do consider liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to our channel. Alright, let's take it from the top. Let's try to understand how we actually got here. Historically, gold has acted like a hedge against uncertainty. Basically, it was like an insurance to protect one's wealth. For centuries, whenever trust in paper money faltered, gold became the fallback. During crisis, investors flock to it, not because it pays interest or dividends, but because it does not lose its value. It's one of the few assets that sit outside the financial system, yet holds strong value. That's why gold surged just before the 2008 financial crisis. It also went up during the Eurozone debt panic. Even before COVID, gold prices were booming. But there's another side to this story. Historically, gold rallies don't last forever. Once the panic fades away and central banks restore stability, gold prices tend to cool off. After the 2008 crisis, for example, gold fell nearly 40% from its 2011 peak. Now, if you say, but Akanksha, I don't remember gold crashing. Well, that's actually because although in dollar terms, gold did fall, but since rupee also weakened against the dollar, we didn't actually feel the impact. Hey guys, if you like our work at FinShots, do consider checking out Ditto. Ditto is our sister company and they are trying to make insurance simpler for people like you and me. If you're thinking of reviewing your insurance needs, why don't you book a free call with Ditto Insurance's IRDAI certified advisors? The link is in the description. Alright, coming back to our story. In short, gold behaves like a hedge. It goes up when fear dominates and it crashes when confidence returns. The pattern has been consistent for decades now. Okay, so if we are not in a major crisis right now, why is gold at record highs? Well, that's actually because people buying gold this time aren't acting out of fear. Over the past 2 years, composition of gold demand has quietly changed. It is not households or individuals buying gold, but institutional investors and countries. According to the World Gold Council, central banks have been adding roughly 60 to 80 tons of gold every single month in this year alone. In August, global central banks bought about 15 tons of gold. Countries like China, Poland, Turkey, Singapore have been among the biggest accumulators. And this isn't normal. Go back 15 or 20 years ago and you will see that central banks were doing the exact opposite. Between 1999 and 2009, central banks were net sellers of gold. Collectively, they had offloaded close to 4,000 tons from their reserves. Back then, gold was seen as an outdated relic that earned nothing and took up vault space. The share of global reserve held in gold steadily fell back in those decades. But fast forward to today, and the mindset has completely flipped. Central banks are now net buyers of gold. In 2010, only about 1 in 5 central banks were actively managing or expanding their gold holdings. That's around 20% central banks. Today, this figure is up to 50%. On top of that, it's not just official institutions. Gold-backed ETFs, which are basically investment funds that hold gold on behalf of investors, are also seeing massive inflows. In India alone, gold ETFs saw over 2,000 crores of net inflows in August. That is up 74% from July. Over the past 2 years, ETF inflows have jumped by more than 100%. But you know what's actually interesting? At the same time, the demand for gold in the form of jewelry has actually fallen. The World Gold Council says that India's jewelry demand has been down 25% by volume this year. Even though prices are at record highs, people aren't buying necklaces. They're actually buying ETFs. That's your first sign there. This rally isn't retail driven. So why are institutions and governments suddenly hoarding gold? Part of the answer lies in the geopolitics. Over the last few years, countries have realized that their foreign reserves aren't as untouchable as they thought. Many Western countries froze the assets of Russians and Russian governments lying in their country. This happened after Russia invaded Ukraine. Governments across the world saw how easily assets held in dollar or euros could become tools of political pressure. And the thing about gold is that it sits outside of this system. It can't be sanctioned or frozen. So, for many central banks, buying gold isn't about chasing returns. It's actually about ensuring the sovereignty of their finances. It's an insurance against the global financial order itself. And this is what's leading to another major trend in global finance, and it's called de-dollarization. The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency, meaning most of the countries held their primary foreign exchange in US dollar terms. This gave US the power to borrow cheaply and also influence global finance. But it also means that other countries are exposed to dollar risk. So, although for decades, global reserves have been dominated by US Treasury bonds, but as America's debt has been going up and their politics has been becoming more unpredictable, countries are reducing their dollar exposure. They're not dumping treasuries overnight actually. That would be self-defeating. But they're gradually tilting towards more neutral stores of value. And that's where gold comes in. In that sense, gold rally is a mirror image of the quiet rebranding of the global monetary system. Now, someone would say gold doesn't pay interest or dividends. So why are people gravitating towards gold during times of uncertainty? Well, across the world, many central banks are expected to lower interest rates. In 2025 and 2026, lower interest rates would mean that government bonds and other traditional safe investments will pay less in real terms after accounting for inflation. The returns might be very small or even negative. Institutional investors see this coming and they are buying gold ahead of time. Let me explain this. Unlike bonds, gold doesn't pay an interest. But when other safe instruments or assets give little yields, that's little interest, gold looks more valuable. So this buying cycle isn't about panic or crisis. It's actually about positioning yourself in advance for a world where traditional returns are going to be weaker. Now, we know who's buying gold and we know why they are doing it. But will they actually sell? And how will it impact the prices? Well, here's the interesting thing. We don't know for sure, but if we actually look into the history, we can see that unlike retail investors, central banks actually buy gold as a long-term strategic asset, not as something they would want to flip for profit. In fact, selling gold is often seen as a sign of weakness. You probably remember how we told you that earlier in 1990s and 2000s, several Western central banks offloaded large positions of their gold reserves. Well, you know what happened next? They saw the prices multiply in the next few decades. That mistake haunts policymakers even today. Now, this means much of the gold being accumulated now might not return to the open markets anytime soon. This makes this gold rally structurally different from any of the previous rallies. When institutions hoard gold, they effectively shrink the tradable supply, which is called the float. This is what's available to private investors like you and me. And when the supply becomes sticky, even small bursts of fresh demand can push the prices of gold up. It also raises the floor of the gold prices, which means now corrections might happen, but the price of gold might not fall to its previous lows as it did in the previous crashes. Now, here's actually the weirdest thing. For decades, gold symbolized distrust in financial system. It was the asset you bought when you didn't believe in the central banks. Now, those very central banks are the biggest buyers of gold. The system is hedging against itself. So, what does this mean going forward? Again, this is all speculation, but this likely means that gold prices might not crash as they did during previous cycles. Even if retail demand cools down, buying from institutions will always keep going up and it will prop up the price of the gold. Volatility could rise, but crashes may be rare. So, what's your take on this? Let us know in the comments and subscribe to FinShots TV for more.